when I started Foeder Crafters, we had no clue what we were doing, but we had like this feeling that if we treated our materials the way brewers treat their materials, and literally tasted everything we did and thought about everything we did like a brewer does, that we would be, I mean, that was our best attempt to make a success of it. This was like 8 years ago, and so when I'd come to work, I would, once I finished my coffee, I would take a little taste of each of the foeders that were steaming, and the condensate from the steaming, or if they were filled and they were sitting there water testing. I would taste each one of them and I would know whether it was going to make great alcohol or not. And the way we knew is like, if it makes great water, it'll make great alcohol. And 1 out of every 10 foeders that we made literally terrible water, just disgusting water. And we would pull off all the fittings, pull off all the bolts, anything of value. We'd pull it off and we would get rid of it. And there have been several kind of semi-famous burnings of our foeders. But anyway, what we realized was if it made great water, it would make great beer or great wine. Anyway, so it was a matter of tasting. If it tasted good, it was great. If it tasted bad, it wasn't. And what we found out was that about 1 out of every 20 trees has a bacterial infection of some kind, that it tastes like really bad cheese. Although cheese is awesome, so it's like bad something. It's like zombie flesh or something literally terrible. And so what ended up happening was that I started cutting every stave, and I'd cut a 1/2 inch off of the stave, and I would literally taste it. Just like someone making wine tastes the grapes, just like a brewer smells his hops, tastes his grain. I'd taste the wood, and I was like, when it was a bad one, when the infection, we call it cheese wood, it's an insult to cheese, but it would get this close to our face and we'd be like, whoa, you could literally smell it a mile away. And so this board tastes like Whistle Pig or Pappy's, or it has like a little delicious happiness to it, as opposed to just repulsive dead flesh. And so what we found is that rather than having to burn 1 out of every 10, what we did was we tasted every single board, and I mean every single board, before it went into the foeder. When we cut it, and we were like zing, zing, and then you slide it down to the stop and you do the final cut. But with that zing, zing, we get something that looks like a harmonica. We can give it a taste, and we know immediately if this is going to make delicious alcohol or if this is going to make feculence. So anyway, ultimately, it's a hedonic experience in which whatever tastes awesome is awesome, and whatever tastes terrible is terrible. It's like the simplest thing in the world. But when we figured this out and we realized that on top of it making great water, it also makes boards, like the boards that taste great never leak. And the boards that taste funky had a bacterial problem anyway, and they leak and they weep and they let air in. And so once we realized if we tasted every board, our foeders would not leak and they would make great water,